Some of you may remember when your weather forecast looked a little something like this. Now, when I became a TV forecaster 10 years ago, it looked a little more like this. But how did we get from this to this? Let's take a trip back in time. People have been trying to understand and predict the weather for millennia, but it wasn't until the 19th century that we really began to see anything that looks like modern forecasting, developing weather charts and transmitting weather reports by telegraph. As for getting that information out to the public, Canada got its first TV weatherman in 1952 when Percy Saltzman hit the airwaves with his chalk and blackboard.
And that area of action is even greater than this and more violent. You have a very tightly wound up storm that covers all of Western Canada.
With no computers or internet, the graphics you saw were a product of the meteorologist's artistry on chalkboard or plexiglass with a grease marker. The 1960s and 70s brought magnets and the occasional radar image, but then technology really started to change in a hurry in the 1980s. And former CBC meteorologist Claire Martin started just in time to see it firsthand.
We used to get forecast model data on what was called Molfax. It was huge sheets of paper that were wet because they'd been printed like an old newspaper printing press, highly flammable, probably not very good for your health. And we would draw maps on that. The gentleman that worked before me had still a marker, a pen, and a big, huge map. I was slightly more sort of advanced, technologically speaking. And we had automatic weather stations put around Edmonton, which was just massive. I could tell that the temperature in Sherwood Park was different from St. Albert, which was huge.
In the 90s, computerized graphics made their way to the forefront.
It's akin to having a black and white TV with like 4 channels, which I grew up with, my friend, to satellite TV, all the colors, pick and choose, streaming when you want it.
With computer models and graphics, we could see weather as it happened, visualize low-pressure systems, see the downdrafts for thunderstorms, and where hail was forming. And of course, more information also makes for a more accurate forecast, especially when it comes to the next 24 hours. I've already used TV graphics that are a little more modern like these for 10 years, but where will weather reporting go next? We've already got holograms, virtual reality, and interactive 3D green screens, so the sky really is the limit. And that makes some of the veterans a little jealous.
I'd like to be around for that. If I get a second chance at a second life, I'd love to do that.
And hey, it sure beats delivering weather by Morse code. Christy Kleiman-Higa, CBC News.